Hey guys, it's your old pal Alice Cooper. Basically, this is Spooktacular. So you're gonna be seeing a bunch of horror movies that have a Halloween theme to it. Look for it all this month.
Hey guys, this one is The Lost Boys, directed by Joel Schumacher. Incidentally, it stars Corey Feldman, your young Corey Haim, Jason Patrick, Keith Sutherland, brilliant by the way, and Diane Wiest, and a few other select actors. This one was released on July 31st, 1987. And this is actually one of the movie reviews I'm actually going to enjoy thoroughly because this is actually one of my favorite movies from that particular year. This one pulled in a box office gross of $32.2 million dollars, and incidentally, it's regarded as one of the best horror movies of that time. At least that's how people feel about it anyway. And so anyway, let's go ahead and delve into the story. Michael Emerson, played by Jason Patrick, and his younger brother Sam, played by Corey Haim, move with recently divorced mother Lucy, played by Diane Wiest, to the beach community of Santa Carla, California, which is, of course, the murder capital of the state. Well, actually, the murder capital of the world. And the family moves into with Lucy's father, uh, a cantankerous and an eccentric old man who lives on the outskirts of town and enjoys taxidermy as a hobby. And he doesn't have a TV, but he has a TV guide. But he says if you have a TV guide, you don't need a TV. So Michael and Sam begin hanging out on the boardwalk, which is plastered with flyers of missing people and children. While Lucy gets a job at the local video store run by a man named Max, played by Edward Herman. Michael becomes fascinated by Star, a young woman he spots at the boardwalk one night, and who is in a relationship with David, played by Keith Sutherland. Brilliantly, by the way, a leader of the local gang. Meanwhile, the local comic book store, Sam meets brothers Edgar and Alan Frog, played by Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander, a pair of self-proclaimed vampire hunters, who warn him that Santa Carla has been infiltrated by vampires and gives him horror comics to teach him about the threat. And he says, forget it, I don't like horror comics. He says, you'll like this one, Mr. Phoenix. It'll save your life. So, he says, okay. And there's this one that's he's actually there. If you're looking for the frozen yogurt store, that closed down a few years ago. And he says, no, actually, I'm looking for a Batman number 14. He says that's a very serious comic, man. And he says that they had the organization of the comics all wrong. And he says, who are you? Where are you from? Krypton? He says, Phoenix, actually. But luckily we moved here. So anyway, Michael talks to Star and is approached by David, who is very upset by this, who convinces Michael into following them by motorcycle down the beach until they reach a dangerous cliff, where Michael almost goes over. And he says, what the hell are you doing, huh? And he punches freaking David in the face, and he goes, how far are you willing to go, Michael? So, at the gang's headquarters, a sunken luxury hotel beneath the cliff, David initiates Michael into the group, having him drink from a bottle of wine. Star warns Michael that it's not to drink, telling him it's blood. But Michael ignores her advice and drinks. Later on, David and the others, including Michael, head to the train tracks where they hang off the edge over a foggy gorge below and all fall down to the gorge. Michael loses his grip and falls down with them. Incidentally, I want to go ahead and mention that David and them were having Chinese for dinner, and he plays with David's mind several times, and the food is transformed into maggots and freaking worms. And he says it's only noodles, Michael. And he says, "Come on, how can a million Chinese folks be wrong?" So, anyway, the next morning, Michael develops a thirst for blood and impulsively tries to attack Sam. Sam's dog, Nanook, retaliates, pushing Michael down away from Sam and biting him in the hand. And he says, "What did you do to my dog, you a-hole?" He said, "Nothing. I didn't hurt him. He bit me." So, Sam realizes Michael is turning into a vampire, but his brother's reflection in the mirror being transparent. And he says, "My own other brother, a vampire. You wait till Michael finds out, buddy." And he goes, "Sam." He says, "What are you, the flying nun?" And he's out there flying out. And he says, "I'm your brother, Sammy. Help me. Please. Please." He says, "What are we going to do?" "Tell her nothing." "Oh, come on, Michael. It's not like getting a D in school, Michael." So, a terrified Sam flees his room with Michael, trying to talk to him about the situation. After Michael retreats to his room, he begins to develop supernatural powers. He realizes turning into a vampire and asks Star for help, but has sex with her shortly afterwards. For comic books, Sam discovers since Michael has not killed anyone, he is only half vampire, and is conditioned to be reversed upon the death of the head vampire. The next day, Sam and Frog's brothers conclude that Max is the head vampire, and test this theory whilst he is dating Lucy. However, Max passes every test and appears to be human. Incidentally, it's Michael that invites him into the house. Dumb move, by the way. And he says, "You're the man of the house, and I'm not coming in until you invite me." And he says, "You're invited." He says, "Thank you very much." And it turns out that one of them is actually a scene where they're having spaghetti, and turns out that the garlic, and he says, "I like garlic." Incidentally, for that particular part, he's actually not showing signs of being a vampire. So, in an attempt to force him into killing, David takes Michael to stalk a group of beachgoers and insists, and then a feeding frenzy ensues. Horrified by the sight, Michael escapes and returns home to Sam. Initially, I want to go ahead and mention that initiation's over. Time to join the club. So they basically wipe out the whole biker gang that's there. Let's see. Let's see. Alright, so Star Rise reveals herself as a half vampire is looking to be cured. It emerges that David had intended for Michael to be Star's first kill, sealing her fate as a vampire. The next day, a weakened Michael leads Sam and Frog's brothers to the gang slayer. They impale one of the vampires, Marco, who incidentally was Ted from Bill and Ted. That's where we all know him. With a stake, awakening David and 2 others. But the boys escape, rescuing Star and young Laddie, a half-vampire child and Star's companion. And it says, his hand is instantly burned by the sun, and he goes, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he goes, tonight. And they freaking discover that Michael and Star are asleep in the car, and they get out, and they said they don't ride with vampires, and they said they do now. And they got into the car, and he says, burn rubber. Burn rubber does not mean warp speed. And they drive off. Sam is driving, obviously. Let's see. That evening, while Lucy is on a date with Max, and the grandfather is on a date with Wendell Johnson, who insists that he not be late. And he says, I better get cleaned up then. And he gets his car, it makes a beeping noise, and he drives away. So, the teens arm themselves with holy water filled with water guns, a longbow, stakes, and board themselves up from the attacking vampires. Night falls, and David and the gang attack the house. Incidentally, Star asks, they'll be coming for Laddie, aren't they? They said they'll be coming for all of us. So, let's see. The Frog Brothers, the Nook, managed to kill one of the vampires by pushing him into a bathtub filled with garlic and holy water, dissolving him to the bone. Sam is attacked by Dwayne. Another vampire shoots him in the air on a longbow to Dwayne, which goes through his heart into the stereo behind him, electrocuting him and causing parts of his body to explode. Death by stereo. Nice. Michael is then attacked by David, forcing him to use his vampire powers. He manages to overwhelm David and impales him with a set of antlers. However, Michael, Star, and Larry do not transform back to normal upon David's death as they hoped. So there's still one more. And they said that something's wrong. They don't feel anything. And Michael says nothing's changed. And Lucy and Max return home. Max is revealed to be the head vampire. He informs the boys that to invite a vampire into one's house is renders them powerless, explaining why their earlier assumption had been incorrect. Max's objective had been to get Lucy to be the mother of his lost boys. It's like one big happy family. And he says, I still want you, Lucy. I haven't changed my mind about that. And of course he vamps out on her. And he goes, I didn't invite you this time, Max. And he freaking confronts. As Max pulls Lucy to him, preparing to transform her, he is then killed when Grandpa crashes his Jeep through the wall of the house and impales Max on a wooden fence post, causing him to explode in the fireplace. Michael, Star, and Laddie return to normal. And all is well. The film ends casually Grandpa retrieving a drink from the refrigerator, seemingly obviously to the carnage around him. He then declares, one thing about living in Santa Clara I can never can stomach. All the damn vampires. And then of course Michael and Sam are hugging each other, and the screen fades to black, and then the song "People Are Strange When You're a Stranger" by the Doors. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the range. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. Very catchy theme song, by the way. So, what can I tell you about The Lost Boys?
The Lost Boys deserves a rating of peanut butter cups and a chocolate bar.
The Lost Boys is a movie I highly recommend for Halloween. I mean, you pick it up on Blu-ray for about $7 or $8. Not all that hard to find. I'm not sure where it comes on television though. I'm not entirely sure about that. You got to really look for it. I mean, it's not all that easy to come by. But it's not. It's, once you find it, it's well worth it. Well worth the search. What can I tell you? So, one thing I want to go ahead and mention that Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and Jason Patrick did a wonderful job in this movie. Not to mention David Sutherland, Keith Sutherland. He did a wonderful job in this movie. Like I said, I highly recommend this movie for Halloween. You should definitely see it. So anyway, I think you can find it in select theaters, in select screenings right around Halloween. So anyway, go ahead and hit subscribe. Watch some more videos. Share and like, of course. Leave a thumbs up to support the channel, and leave a comment below. And that's all for today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.